Welcome to Mentor Time. It's good to be back with everybody, and I'm excited to see people interested in this topic because professional branding is at the heart of everything that you all have done with Ron and me in various ways. Today, I want to talk about what it is, but also, not also, and also how you can best use it. We talked about this last year, and I talked about what it is and what it isn't. So if you want a review of what professional branding is and how I differentiate it and others differentiate that from personal branding, I will send the link when I send the recording out for that previous version that we did. You'll see some of the same things, and there's always new information for today even. Let's get started with a poll. I want to know how you rate your professional brand. I meant to do mine, and I'll do it while we're talking. Low, outdated needs work, number one, all the way to strong and updated. Take the credit for whatever you want. No one's going to argue with you. And if you have trouble getting on Slido or it's easier to do the chat, just go ahead and do the chat. I know some of you may only be on one device, so that makes it easier for you if you do it.
I don't see the Slido showing.
Oh, did I not share my screen?
Oh, now I see it. I had
Okay.
it on. I was looking at just the gallery view. My
That's
mistake.
okay. No, that's all right. I know you're on an iPad today, and every time I keep going to my camera, I do it wrong, believe it or not. Open in Chrome. There you go, Sue. I call myself a digital pioneer. All right. Nada told us she's a 4. Sheila said she's outdated. Not by much, Sheila. You took the course recently. I'm going to give myself that rating. All right. Not surprisingly, we are going to see that we start to cluster around the middle. Those of you I can take back to your stats courses. Our stats courses says you give people 5 choices, you get regression to the mean. I am pleased that many of you are thinking you're at a 4 or a 5. That's great. This is just to get you started reflecting and thinking as we go through today, and usually have 3 sections. I want to quickly review a model for professional branding. Many of you have seen this. It's just a good review for you. How you can best use it. And then I'm always end with what should you do? And I'm actually going to give you specific options to let us know how you're taking it forward. This outline here is actually a model many of you have seen. Your professional brand, as we use it, starts with your professional presence, which is why many of you took this course on building and updating your professional presence. People who've worked with me longer came through this as well in different ways. Then you start to use it with virtual visibility and in-person visibility. And these are things that you start applying your professional presence to build your brand. That's not the only thing, but that is what you control. And you often hear me say, you are only one side of a two-sided conversation. The other side of this is then how people see you, your reflected visibility, and then also finally your reputation, which is how you are known. And I put reputation at the top. It's the farthest away from you building your brand because it takes a while for you to get known. We're going to talk about that today. The model then looks like this, but if we put it back together as one model, you'll see that with a color separation, there are 2 sides of the conversation. All right, so think back now to the rating you just gave yourself. Let me know if you want, just stick it in the chat or you can go to Slido. Did you change your rating up or down if you think about what I just went over with the 2 sets of components of your professional brand? And if you have time, what has changed? I will use Slido again. If you all want to do that's fine, or if you just want to put it in the chat, either way, we'll have it. And you can write what you want. Okay. We've got a couple said the same. I wrote that long one because I gave myself a 5. And as I was doing this presentation and rehearsing it this morning, I thought, wait a minute, I have some things I need to start changing and updating. So I thought I would be accountable to you all to let you know. Thank you. One slightly lower. So good. I wanted you to reflect on that and see if the model helped you think about it differently. So how best can you use this? Again, I'm going to ask you in Slido or the chat, please give me words that tell me what you think right now your professional brand gives you. There's no right or wrong. Yes, there are a lot of right answers. There's no wrong answers. You can describe what you want out of your professional brand. You can describe how you feel it helps you, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I will also join, and I don't type as fast as some of you do, I think. All right. Oh, visibility to recruiters, access, sells my service. Great. I made that spelling error. For some reason, when I type and with my swipe keyboard, I get abs. I don't know if it's a message that I need to do more ab work in my routine. Thank you, Sheila, for your comment on visibility. I love all that. I want to give you oh, great. Opinion matters more when you're seen well. That is really true. That's that part of how you are seen and then how you are known. And that leads us, thank you for that comment, because that leads us right into what I want to start with. I want to give you this brief framework to think about your professional brand and taking it forward and moving it either up a notch or continuing to keep it strong. Some of these phrases I've said for many years. In fact, Ron, we're going on 4 years ago when we first did our presentation together, and I went back and found I had used them there, right? But this really comes out of the world of having you understand that you can't get everything all at once. So when someone says to me, Sue, I need help with my LinkedIn profile, I need to be able to use it tomorrow, I say, great. There are certain things you can do, but it's not going to get you everywhere that you can get with LinkedIn, other social media, other in-person events and connections even. So the first step is your visibility. You increase your visibility by what I call seeing and being seen. The second step, the first step is more about reach. The second step is more about access. And you may have heard these words. We've used them also in behavior change, at least we did 2 decades ago, reaching people with messages to build awareness, and then access, getting the ability to learn and incorporate knowledge. And I'm calling the third step impact because it goes beyond getting known and noticed, but it's when you are recognized. It's that top level of reputation where you are now being recognized and known in a larger world of people you may not realize actually know who you are. So let's talk briefly about each of these. See and be seen. You want to be found in the ocean of everything we're all living in right now. That's in person, where your reach is sometimes a handshake at a networking event, or it's online. If you're having a networking event there, maybe you get an opportunity to get into breakout rooms and can do things a little more closely. So people begin to see you, you become more visible. And there are other ways this happens as well. In the second step of credibility, you're beginning to get known and noticed, because it's not just enough to be visible. You have to contribute something of value. You give value to get value. And this becomes what you receive by sharing your expertise. And every one of you worked with Ron and me in the course or have worked with me over time, and you all know how to talk about your expertise in a way that's comfortable for you, evidence-based results, of course, and helps you be seen as an expert in what you're doing. And then finally, the impact is at what I call being you, and that is when you're recognized. And it's not just being recognized with an award, like this teacher got an award. She got an award not just because she got that award that day, she got an award for showing up, being consistent, and all the things that go along with all of what we want in our professional branding. So put in the chat for me a 1, 2, or 3. What stage do you feel you're at in your professional brand now? Are you at a 1 where your visibility is good, but you don't feel that you're putting your credibility out there? Are you getting known and noticed for your credibility? And are you actually recognized for what you bring? And although I've used and will use a lot of examples from online because that proliferates in our life, many of you have very demanding and interesting jobs where you may where you want to say, Sue, I'm already at the impact. They know who I am. I'm doing these great workshops all over the world. All right, thanks. Melanie said 2 to 3. Camilla said 1. Yep. Oh, Nada, I'm welcome back, Nada. Great. Peter's working towards 2 from 1. Sheila's at 1. I'm going to tell you what I tell you in the course because you've all heard it from me. I think some of you are underrating yourself, but that's okay. Oh, Chelsea, you made it too. Great. A mix of 1 to 3. And there's no absolute where you are on this. I consider myself very strong in 2. I think I'm seeing more impact in 3, but it depends, as you imagine, what I'm measuring myself against. So what's my denominator? Is my denominator all the big, huge LinkedIn experts I work with every day, or is my denominator people in a more collegial group that focuses on what we focus on? But it gives you a chance to think about the steps, the stages, and where you fall now. They are, Nada says the 2 and 3 are somehow similar. They are. You get known and noticed. And you just have to then jump to what does recognition bring? I remember telling my speaking coach last year after I did a presentation and then got 4 more presentations. And I said to her, maybe I'm getting more famous than I wanted to be when I said to you that in her 6 steps of goals for speaking, my goal was to be recognized authority. So I had a little bit of that myself. And Ron, I agree with you. It's all stages depending on what you want to be known and noticed for. So what does this mean for you all? I'm going to talk about 2 areas. One is increasing your visibility, which is the first of those, your reach. How do you increase your reach? I'm going to give you 2 specific things. What I call your first box, many of you have heard this, focusing on this and making sure it's complete. This is just the top part of getting to LinkedIn. And then part of that also then is making sure your about section is strong. And now strong also includes adding up to 5 top skills so that you can see, as I pasted here from my profile yesterday, you see a little snippet of my profile start about section, and you see the skills I've chosen for myself. That will get you visibility because that's what people look for, especially because LinkedIn, when they changed the algorithm 6 or 8 weeks ago, they now have moved the about section up where it should be right underneath your heading information, the first box. Then the second part of this, again, this goes along with building and updating your brand, and now we're using it. That is demoing your expertise. I want to give you a way to think about the work that you can do on LinkedIn, but this goes across whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all of the social media have a level of expertise and effort that you need to use to get to use all the different features. LinkedIn, for me, the easiest thing is what I call supportive reactions. In that case, it's not just clicking the like button, which is very easy to do. It is choosing your reaction for what it says. And what I know from LinkedIn experts is a lot of them don't look at comments and they don't necessarily look at how many reactions were insightful versus funny versus the support hand. But if I think something's really helpful to me, for me, insightful is the helpful one, then I will give it insightful. So Kevin Turner made a comment on Ken Lang's post about these AI things. And these AI things, don't you love how I lump that together? I felt Kevin made a very important point And I didn't have the time, or I didn't take the time to write about how important it was. There were a lot of people commenting on his comment, but at least I could give him a supportive reaction. That's easy to do. It's what I've advised you all since 2014 when I developed this approach, to make sure that you try to put some kind of reaction on at least several times a week. My normal is 2 to 3 times a week for 3 to 4 reactions is a minimum of effort that gets you visibility. And now LinkedIn is actually letting us see that. The next level is what I call substantive commenting. That means you use your expertise, not just congratulations, Ron, for getting an award, but specifying what is it about the award that's relevant to what Ron provided for assistance. Or in my case, the example I'm showing you is where I'm actually showing people I don't agree with, or this, there's I should have put the whole post in, but it was about people using easy apply. And Peter, this is the one that you put a comment on my comment. Easy apply seems easy when you're a job seeker until you start to realize all the ways that job seekers can lose control of their side of the conversation. So that comment would look like something you would hear from me in my courses in MentorTime, and you'd hear from Ron and me in live review meetings. Pretty easy to do. I wrote a long one, but the algorithm now wants you to have, I don't know how to do 12 words or more. I don't know how Richard Vanderblom figures this out, but we've gone from 5 to 8 words to 12 now, which is about a line and a half. All right, the third level is writing a post. And I just wanted to remind you, this isn't all the topics you can write about, but there are easy things to post about that don't require a lot of effort from you. Resources that are useful, scientific evidence with commentary, personal, professional, or your work experiences if you're able to share them. Writing a post is a little harder, but look what I found Peter posted. I think it was while I was away, Peter, you posted this. He posted about trainings given by an organization, an upcoming one, but he validated it with not only saying, here's what it's on, but he also said, I've taken trainings before from them and they were great. So he's giving you value for something to read and not just reposting it with no comment. And that takes a little more time, but it doesn't take a lot of time to share, especially in the list I just gave you. The first two, sharing resources or sharing scientific evidence, especially other people's scientific evidence that they've shared, that already give you a synthesis there. The one that takes much more time is publishing an article or a newsletter. In this case, this is Rena Anthony Raj wrote an article after I had a chat with her about her career and what she wanted for visibility. I helped her with some of the nuts and bolts of how you publish this, but she took it forward. And it took her a while. She said once she was ready to start writing about it, it came fairly quickly, and she turned it around within a week. I did give her some feedback. It is one thing that you can do. Writing a newsletter is more of a commitment because you've got to do it repeatedly and have things you want to talk about. And I have, for over the last year, I have accepted every newsletter invitation to subscribe just so I can see how many people are consistent. And there's a lot of people that drop off. And that's why I don't do a newsletter, because I'm not sure I could be consistent. As we wind up, I want you to choose and put in the chat box, if you want to, one action or more that you specifically want to do in the next 24 hours to increase your visibility, demonstrate your expertise, or anything else, whether I've mentioned it or not, that you want to do to make sure you strengthen your professional brand and what you're putting out there. So I will tell you that I'm making a commitment to write a post. I'll give you a couple more minutes. Oh, Ron's going to write an article using Notion. Great. Sheila, I'm starting to use Notion also. Sheila gave us a good look at Notion. She's using it to put her products out there that go beyond her CV and shared it with me. It must be 3 months ago now. LinkedIn comments, Nada says she thinks it's a challenge for her and she'll commit to reactions, but she will at least try to do comments. It is hard and it feels hard until you think about it. Oh, thank you. Oh, Sujata joined. Great. Sujata, yes, comment substantively. Perfect. I think I realize I mixed you and Nada up. So Nada, let me just repeat this again. Nada said she's going to try to do comments. She sees it as harder than writing posts, and you do write posts occasionally, I know. Sujata will commit to reactions. If you can do that, Sujata, that's great. Camilla, I can't wait to see your post on a recent work trip to Indonesia. Must have, hopefully you had fun. I had fun the few times I went. Chelsea's going to use a post and thoughtful comments. Lovely. Yes, Peter, I will tell you the two things I think you need to focus on in your first box. Get a banner photo, add your name record because you can add a name record with a tagline if you want. And I have a list of people that have been through the course and other people who've done them with and without taglines. So if you need some guidance or just want some to hear other people's, I'll send you that list. Just to email me. Melanie, yes, you do have to. Melanie got a new job celebrating her first day today. I'm just going to give you pom-poms again. You may want to wait a couple weeks just till you figure out the lay of the land and how much and what you can say. Certainly, you can say that you have a job title and who you're working for and a little bit of what you're doing, but ping me if you need help on that or just a quick phone call. Ron's going to try name recording because he has a cell phone, but he has a phone number that he can record with, so that's great. All right, I love these commitments. You're welcome to tag me if you do anything, including commenting, and just say, Sue Griffey, check it out, and I'll go amplify it and give you pom-poms for the commitment you've made. Let me stop there. And Ron, comments, questions before we open it up for other people's comments on how they can use professional branding.
Yeah, one thing that I often think about when we're looking at professional branding, there's two things. One of them is that, yes, we're talking about professional branding, but there's a reminder that your personal branding can sometimes bleed into your professional branding, which is where, and the example that's obvious is when, say, a politician messes up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and that bleeds over into their political lives. So that's just a reminder that your personal brand does matter, and you have to consider how you expose your thoughts, feelings, etc., in other fora, which you think of as personal, can interfere with your desire to create a professional presence. The second part is a little bit different from that, and that is the idea of being what did I call it, is the imposter syndrome. And so it's something that we've talked about in some of our courses, talking about the idea that you're there. And so the way that Sue and I have been trying to help folks discover their capacities and their abilities and their competencies, it's actually, I hope, a way of defeating this notion that somehow I'm an imposter. And because this is all about having the confidence to say you are who you are, that you have the capacities that you do have, that your skill sets are real, etc. And all of that. And that requires, that's about the confidence of presenting yourself out there. However, in the background, and Sue, you were talking about one time where you felt in a particular setting that, oh, I'm here with a bunch of people with big PhDs, and sometimes you wonder whether you belong there, you belong with such an august body or whatever. So those are those things that can interfere in part with your desire for making a professional presence.
So the comment you made about imposter syndrome, I've been thinking for the last week or so. I was at the end of my trip, I was in New Orleans. I met a couple mentees in person, which was fun, and the career services person at Tulane and my friends. And it's come up more than once from people that I'm surprised to hear it from. So I think I'm just going to say we're going to have a topic on this probably midsummer. I think I've got June planned, so July. Make sure that I can run and I can help you decide whether it's truly imposter syndrome or it's something that I don't mean you, but something that we all could use to hide behind, because we've talked about it before that it can be a way to escape analyzing what you've actually done. And the flip side of imposter syndrome is another topic we need to update, which is it's not bragging, it's a fact, and making sure you all feel comfortable that everything you think is bragging, but it really isn't. So thank you. I see Nada's hand raised. Nada, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, thank you. I think one of my issues that I always have an interest in is that I always try to keep my authentic self and my real self while posting my branding. So I don't mind if you talk about this and give me some tips to how I can ensure that I am keeping my authentic self while posting my professional brand.
I have a strong reaction to the last 2 years of everybody talking about being their authentic self. There are people on LinkedIn, you can tell when they write their stuff, they're not being authentic. They're writing, these are the people who are now earning six figures and like you to believe that they've been earning six figures for 4 years, when really they just had a good banner month or something. I don't know. But that there are big experts who deservedly do earn that and have great resources and make themselves available. But there are people in the middle that have inauthenticity, that are not being genuine and not being truthful. I feel strongly that if you follow your professional branding, look at what you're building on, look at what you're putting out there, you are not going to be inauthentic. You're going to be authentic. But that doesn't mean you have to share everything. There's been big, huge discussions on LinkedIn in the past 2 years. Is it getting too personal on LinkedIn? Are we getting the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube in LinkedIn? And this came up a month ago when LinkedIn announced LinkedIn Games, which I hope has disappeared already, because there's no way I'm playing games on LinkedIn. And most people feel that way. Back to your authentic self. The ability to be authentic says that you don't have to hide anything. We don't share everything with everybody in the same way. The things I say to my sister are different from the things I say here in MentorTime. Is that being inauthentic? No, it's just being appropriate about different audiences and why we share what we share. So I would probably draw a different line of authentic self to professional branding and say the way in which you're demonstrating your evidence-based results, the evidence of your work, your engagement with people is probably the best measure of your professional brand, but it's also going to be your authentic self. I don't take the time to write long comments on things I don't think are going to be helpful to a reader. I don't just put them there just because it's a chance to be seen. So in that way, maybe I'm being true to my authentic self. That's a very short discussion, Nada, I know, but does that help you?
Yes, it gives me the guidelines. So yes, it's helpful. Thank you, Sue.
All right. I just saw hands raised. So Sujata, I'll go to you next and then Peter. I didn't keep track of who was in what order. Sujata, welcome.
Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me, I started consulting independently and then self-employed since October or so. And I worked with Sue to start, I forget what it's called, a business page.
Company page. That's right. You did. Yep.
So now I have my own page under my name, and then I have the company page. And so my question is, a lot of people know me professionally after a couple of decades of professional experience. They know me under my name. So I don't know how do you decide whether to post or react as yourself, your own name, or as the company? Because the company has very little visibility or credibility at this point.
Oh, that's such a good point. And it's been a focus for the last 3 years by Michelle Raymond, I'm thinking of her name, Michelle J. Raymond, and Brenda Meller. In fact, Michelle wrote a book 2 years ago on company pages, and then the next one up is the revised one she and Linnea Johnson wrote. Company pages are, let me put this the way I can best express it. It's a place for your company to be seen, but it doesn't get the visibility you get in your personal page, in our profiles. And I struggled through this when Michelle first put out the work she'd done on company pages. Meller was talking about it as well. I started posting there. I posted a poll about which cover do you want for the next version of the workbook. I did that a year and a half ago. I got no engagement on it. And LinkedIn is still trying to figure out how to give people engagement. Here's my formula for how you think about a company page, Sujata and others. The company page reflects for you in your consulting business, for me in the mentoring work that I do, for others that even many of the big companies, a place for you to be found on LinkedIn, and for people who work with you, work as an employee, then have a logo on their personal profile. I have my Sue Mentors pom-poms. And now Ron joined as an employee. We finally realized, oh, you should be an employee. So he's an employee. He has the Sue Mentors pom, and Nada has joined as a project assistant, and she will be able to do that. It is a place I use, for example, I have a pinned post about the next cohort isn't being announced yet, but you can always do a self-paced, and here's how you find more information. I get profile views on the company page because I get flagged, not a lot, maybe 5 to 8 a week. But LinkedIn must be showing me in searches, because people will join the course and say, I found this in a search on LinkedIn. And I don't know if that means they searched for the course, or whether they searched for mentoring, or whether LinkedIn showed them here in resources you might be interested in. Sujata, I think you should use it for your professional visibility of your consulting company. Make sure that you have your contact information updated. Make sure you have all of the pieces just like you do in your profile, the banner thing, the logo, all of that. And then I would post occasionally. Michelle says post once a week. I tried to commit to posting once a month last year, and I made 2 months in a row. And I usually do it when we're about to announce a cohort. What you can do, though, is begin to flesh out the company page. It lets you add, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like featured products page. Each product that you offer could have its own page, and you can use that for your branding as well. So it gives you a chance to say that you're working there with a logo on your LinkedIn profile, but it also, if someone goes there, they can see, oh, Sujata does this and this. Let me stop there. Do you have more questions? Does that help you think through that? And don't take on more guilt about I'm not posting on the company page. You're one of many of us that doesn't do it.
Correct me if I'm wrong in my comprehension of what you said. For the reactions to posts and commenting on people's posts, that can be from my personal profile. And then for the company profile, it's more of that once a month post or whatever I determine.
Yeah. Now, because I have company pages, I have one for the course as well, because I made a separate page for the course, because that's the way people who took the course could put it on their LinkedIn profile. It's just a vagary. You don't need to do it. But I can, when I'm writing a post, choose whether I post from my company page or my personal profile. And I can also comment in the same way. So if you wanted to flag up an important comment, you could write your expertise under the comment. Then you could write another comment from your company page of, we're now working with clients that are asking for X, Y, and Z. So interesting, this post did it. So you could get bang for both directions with your comment. But don't try to do that on every comment. It's just going to get tiresome for you. And I don't want to put people off LinkedIn. I try to make it as easy as possible for how busy you are. So it sounds like the formula you laid out will work for yourself. Post once a month, comment substantively as you, Sujata Biju, and then the company page will take care of itself once a month. Ron, you had comments. I skipped right over you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a quick look at your page and your company page, and you have opportunities there to present content that would be attractive to potential clients. So I'm just looking in your case specifically, that would be an opportunity so that it's an extension of your advertising. It is an advertising venue. So you have your professional presence, which is you and your capabilities. And then there is your company, which is how you work. Probably. And so the company is a way of helping people find you. And so I guess that's really the question is, so things like sometimes you might want to post personally, sometimes you might want to post an article that is directly related to products that or whatever along the lines that Sue was saying. So those are some opportunities I had just looking at your page that you might be able to take advantage of.
That's really helpful, both of you. Thank you.
Great. All right, Peter.
I was going to say that in response to somebody that commented that they were hesitant to do the post, write a post or doing a commenting, that at first it does seem like it's difficult and a big hurdle to overcome, but it actually isn't that hard. If you look at the post that you put up there, it was only a couple of sentences that I wrote, and that's really all it has to be. And so it's getting over that first hurdle. But and I remember when you talked about this previously, I felt that way. I was like, oh, I don't think I can write that much. But it's a couple of sentences and it's not that hard for both of those. And so it's once you do one or two, you get into it and okay, it is easier. Some of the easy kind of low-hanging fruit is we can all write a post about this mentor time and each mentor time that we do with Sue. And
You've been very good at that, Peter. You've been very good at that. Thank you.
And that seems like a really good and easy way to do it. It gets a couple of comments and people see it. And then anytime we all go to webinars or whatever. So I did one about this training that I'm going to do, or you can do one about a webinar that you're going to attend. And then whether you attend it or not, you wrote a post about it. And then if you did attend it, you can write a follow-up post about it. Oh, this was really interesting. And they talked about this, or this speaker said something really interesting. And then you get visibility through, if you tag the company correctly, that the organization that did it, then you get a comment or a like from them. And so it follows on easily, and it's the cost of 5 minutes to write 2 or 3 sentences. So it's not that hard.
I love that vote of confidence. And you have been a good model for that, Peter. When I send this out, I will send you links to the posts that I used in case they're illustrative and helpful. And also, Peter, the couple, you did some recently on MentorTimes in the last couple months. I'm also going to send you a couple people that I follow that present global health evidence. And one of them, Dr. Sohail Aga, he will do a summary of it and then put the article up there. And it becomes very easy to think about it. Nada, as I recall, you did that a few months ago. You put up a post about, it may have been about the parasite group that you formed in Sudan. So I'll look for different examples to give all of you some impetus getting started. Anyone else? Thank you, Peter, for that. These were great questions and discussions. All right, we are running over time, so I'm going to ask Ron to close the meeting for today.
Thank you, everyone. It was a good group here today, and thanks everyone for taking time out of their day across so many time zones, including 2 in the morning. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll be getting together again in a couple of weeks.
1 week. I just checked. I forgot 1 week. We're going to talk about career development in the era of AI.
Okay.
Okay. So now it's yours.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see you next week, or we'll see many of you next week.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
Thanks everybody for joining today. Let us know if we can help you.